What's up, y'all? Welcome into episode 2 of the Grind City Media Draft Board Breakdown, brought to you by Southland Casino. I'm Whitaker, joined by Gary Parrish here, and we are breaking down everything related to the 2025 NBA Draft. Episode 1, we already went into Cooper Flagg in detail, talked all about him, the presumptive number 1 pick, and now we move to the guys who look like picks 2 and 3, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper from Rutgers University. And I'll start with this. How did Rutgers finish 2 games under 500 this year?
For a lot of the same reasons the Phoenix Suns finished 10 games under 500 this year. It's not the top of the roster that's the real problem. And I'm not trying to make an apples-to-apples comparison here, because there's a lot of evidence that it's not apples to apples. But what is true is that when you looked at the Phoenix Suns, you said, how do you lose when you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal? And among the answers to that question is it's the people around them. They don't have enough around them. And what became increasingly clear as the season unfolded in Piscataway is that Dylan Harper's amazing. Ace Bailey has as much upside as almost anybody in the sport, perhaps more than anybody in the sport. But the pieces around them just weren't good enough. And this isn't the perfect way to explain it, but among the more accurate ways to explain it would be they spent a lot of money in NIL to secure the services of Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, and with the benefit of hindsight, quite clearly didn't do a good enough job either raising the money and or spending the money to get the players around them to be a quality Big Ten team, because it's not like Dylan Harper went there and was bad or Ace Bailey went there and was bad. They were both really good. It's why they have a chance to go second and third in this draft, which is just amazing to think about historically. Like, there was a time not too long ago where Rutgers basketball was like in the same league as Memphis and a total non-factor afterthought.
I was trying to think of this yesterday. Like, who was the best Rutgers player of all time? Eddie Jordan?
It's like the idea in any other time in the history of the world, if I'd have told you 2 of the top 3 picks in the NBA draft are coming from Rutgers, you'd been like, what? But this is the type of thing that can happen in the NIL era. It did happen, but the team wasn't good because the pieces around them just weren't good enough.
And it did. I mean, this is kind of getting off the topic here, but it also, do you think it has like a lasting impact on Rutgers basketball, or now it's just going to, now that your 2 best players are gone and you just...
I think it can become difficult in this era of the sport because...
Sustainable, I guess, is the word.
Yeah, because once you have something like that and then it doesn't go well, people start to use it against you. So if Steve Pikiell at Rutgers is recruiting the next Ace Bailey, the next Dylan Harper, I can just tell you that whoever's recruiting against him will be like, hey, you know, I know they got all the money and Steve's great, but, you know, Dylan and Ace went there and you saw how that went. And do you really want to risk your 1 year in college basketball and you don't even sniff the NCAA tournament? Be careful about picking a program like that. Yeah, they can work against you. I think it probably already has on some level. And that was a real missed opportunity. I mean, that's the type of thing where when you secure the services of Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, you think it might be program-changing, career-changing for you. And instead it becomes a little bit of a stain on your otherwise impressive resume, and it puts real pressure on, I think, Steve and that Rutgers program to bounce back, because, you know, it's not like this is salary cap money that these college basketball programs are dealing with, at least right now under these circumstances. This is rich people's money. This is billionaire money, millionaire money, and they're handing it over. And when you hand over the type of money it takes to get these types of players and it doesn't lead to any sort of tangible success, as a wealthy person, you can be hesitant to hand that money over again the next time if you don't get your return on investment. So yes, to answer your question in a long-winded way, I do think that can have a negative impact on Rutgers basketball moving forward, that these 2 young men didn't deliver team results that they were expected to deliver, but individually they're both going to be fine, because again, Dylan Harper should go second in this draft, and Ace Bailey has a very good shot to go third.
Yeah, well, the two people who worked out for well are Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, because they, like you said, they're probably going to be top 4 or 5 picks. Definitely seems like Dylan Harper is the consensus number 2 pick from everything I've seen. I saw him play some in high school, and the thing that would to me, like, kind of stood out for him was his sort of just feel for the game, like the intangible thing about him. 6'5" guard, third team All Big Ten, but was probably one of the consensus best players in his high school class, top 2-3 player. I guess when you watch him play, what's the thing that to you jumps out that makes him such a good, prospect for the NBA?
He is always in control in a way that you rarely would see first-year lead guards in control in a league like the Big Ten. Yeah. He doesn't get sped up. He knows how to play. All the stuff that you would associate with son of a professional athlete, son of a player. Like these cliches get thrown around all the time, like, he's the son of a coach. Well, son of a player matters too. Yeah. And I don't always mean just son of a basketball player. Are you ready for this? Son of a male basketball player. Like, did your mother play?
Yeah.
Was your mom a track star, a basketball? Like, go talk to the front office here. They will tell you that is a check in the good category if you are the offspring of a professional athlete. And it's not always just because of genetics, although that's a thing.
Helps, yeah.
It certainly helps. But it's just that, and this is the way, these aren't my words as much as this is the way it's been explained to me by front office members, not just here, but all over the NBA. Because here in Memphis, we have Jaren Jackson Jr., Scottie Pippen Jr., we have the sons of professional athletes. And what front office members will tell you is that Jaren Jackson Jr. was just around excellence all the time. The same way sometimes my kids are just up here, running around on microphones and
you say around excellence. Yeah.
No. I'm not trying to compare my kids to a number 2 pick in the draft. I promise you. But they just they're very comfortable here, and they. If you're my kid, you might grow up in a studio a lot, be around microphones a lot. If you're the son of a professional athlete, you might be in gyms all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not just that your dad's got a basketball in your hands. It's you're watching your dad get up every morning. You're watching the way your dad takes care of his body, the way your dad approaches his job, the way your dad works out, comes home, spends time with you, and then goes back to the gym. No, work's not done today.
Yeah.
You want to come with me this time? Come with me this time. And you just sort of inherently pick up on these work habit things that otherwise might not be there. Like, what it looks and feels like because you watch somebody you're close with do it.
Yeah.
And that's not the only reason this matters, but it's among the reasons it matters. And when you watch Dylan Harper play, he looks like somebody who has been taught basketball well and has been around it his entire life. He's just very in control all the time in an unusual way, given his age and given his size.
Yeah, my son keeps his body in terrific shape also, just from watching me.
Is that correct?
I would say, though, with Dylan Harper, Ron Harper, when he played, it started off like this crazy athletic guy, had the knee problems when he was with Cleveland, and ends up like an amazing role player and just kind of filled a void with the Bulls and these other teams. And you kind of feel like Dylan Harper kind of understands his role on these teams. You know what I mean? He's not trying to be a superstar. He's doing what he needs to do, but
he can be.
Yeah,
he might not need to be, but he can be. Yeah. I think Ron Harper would probably agree with this. His son is more talented than him.
Yeah,
and has a chance to be maybe not as many-time world champion.
Yeah,
but can be a better professional basketball player than his father. He's a special talent, and most people believe he will go second in this draft. It's a bit of a mystery, if only because the franchise drafting second is the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
And he's not an obvious perfect fit given what's already on the roster. They've got a lead guard in De'Aaron Fox. They've got a jumbo card in Stephon Castle. Yeah. But I think where I would land on that is there's a chance San Antonio could try to get into the Giannis sweepstakes. Yeah. And that number 2 pick could theoretically be up for sale, not sale, but like to be packaged,
auctioned off. Yeah,
to get somebody else could execute that pick. At which point, I think the only reason you move up to 2 is to go ahead and grab Dylan Harper.
Yeah,
but I think where I would land on, and even if I'm San Antonio, is if it is clear to you he's the second best prospect in this draft, and it is also clear to you that he's a better prospect long-term than Stephon Castle, you don't let the presence of Stephon Castle, even though he's the reigning Rookie of the Year, you don't let the presence of him move you off of the guy you think you should be taking, because this is a classic mistake that franchises have made over and over again. We're good there, so let's not take that position. Or we've got a player like that, so let's look elsewhere. The most famous example, obviously.
Darko.
I'm sorry?
I was thinking Darko.
Well, I was thinking in Portland once upon a time.
Yeah, before that one,
they had Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
And so the thought process is, why do you need another shooting guard if you've got Clyde Drexler? It's Clyde Drexler, future Hall of Fame shooting guard.
Yeah.
Why would you take another shooting guard? It sounds like a reasonable thing to wonder about. Unless it leads to you passing on Michael Jordan because you didn't need another shooting guard. Well, now you've just passed on Michael Jordan. Congratulations. Your franchise will never be what it could have been. Not comparing Dylan Harper to Michael Jordan. I'm not saying passing on Dylan Harper because you have Stephon Castle is like passing on Michael Jordan because you have Clyde Drexler. I'm just saying the premise is similar.
Yeah.
Yes, you have somebody kind of like this already in your you have this position filled kind of already on your roster. You have a jumbo lead guard and a actual point guard.
Yeah.
Do you really need this player? If he's great, you do.
You'll find a place for him.
If he's great, you'll do. And so if your evaluation is he is better than he has a chance to be better than the reigning Rookie of the Year, and he is clearly better than anybody else we can take once Cooper Flagg is off the board, I think if you're San Antonio, you still take him, and I suspect they probably would.
Well, let's look at his teammate now from Rutgers, Ace Bailey. Got a cool name.
Yes.
He's got size. He's got everything, but he's not quite as developed as Dylan Harper is. Not as polished, I guess you would say, right?
He's not. He is an incredible talent in the sense that, oh, buddy, the highlights look great. Like I could show you an Ace Bailey highlight film. Let's say you've never heard of Ace Bailey, and I say, Lang, you're not going to believe this guy. And I just show you the highlights. Now I get to pick the highlights. And we don't watch whole games ever.
Yeah.
And we're not going to watch anything on defense or passing.
Sounds like you're describing what social media is, to be honest. But yeah.
Well, it is funny. Like you get all these people breaking down prospects off of highlight films.
Yeah.
Like you realize I could make a highlight film of me playing golf, and it would look like I should get a $100 million offer from Liv. All right, but I shouldn't. It's just highlights.
Yeah.
So if you watch a whole game, you'll come away with a different impression. If you watch a whole season, you'll come away with a different impression. But the highlights, I can show you the highlights, and you go, so why is this guy not going number one overall, even above Cooper Flagg? Because he's got the best highlights.
Yeah.
And he might have, I'm hesitant to even say it because I don't even know if it's true. So I'll stop short of saying it. I was going to say he might have the highest upside of anybody in the draft, but I still think that might be Cooper Flagg. But it is not implausible for me to imagine in 6 years the best player from this draft was actually Ace Bailey. I'm not predicting it. I would bet against it, but I can imagine it because he's uniquely gifted. He's not as tall as you thought.
Yeah.
He's not as tall as Kevin Durant. The wingspan's not Kevin Durant's. He's not Kevin Durant. But some of the highlights remind you of it. KD, I think, coming out of college was like 6'9", Ace Bailey closer to 6'7". KD's wingspan, I think, was 7'5"-ish. Ace is closer to 7 foot. And KD was the national player of the year, and Ace Bailey isn't. I don't know that he's going to be Kevin Durant, but the highlights make people immediately go to Kevin Durant. The name I saw get tossed around on social media within the past week, which seemed reasonable, was like Rashard Lewis. Just like wing with size who can really score. He's going to be able to really score. He's going to shot make and shot create. The question is with him, how much does he impact winning? And obviously his one season at Rutgers doesn't help that conversation. And like, what does he do besides shoot and score? Like, what else do you do? How else are you helping us? There's 10 people on this court. You represent one of them.
Yeah.
You're one of our 5. We know you're scoring for us. We know you're shot creating for us. Well, how else are you helping us? What else are you doing to help us? He doesn't pass the ball, doesn't seem interested in doing it. I'm not sure that he can. He's not a plus defender. There's a lot left on the table. But if he can ever tap into that and figure out how to be an impactful player in more than just ways than just scoring, now you've got something special. I know it sounds like I'm bad-mouthing him. I'd still take him in the top 5, no question.
Yeah.
But I'm not certain he's the clear-cut third best prospect in this draft. And he is, in terms of where this goes, he might have the widest range of outcomes. I could see him being an all-star scorer in the NBA. Like, he's on all-star teams, and he's one of the best scorers in the league and an amazing shot creator and shot maker. I could also see him he averaged 21 points for 7 straight years for a team that never won anything.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see. But he's a fascinating prospect.
But then it sort of becomes fit, right? Like in the NBA, like the Sixers have that third pick, and they have a lot of veteran players. And, maybe you go there if you're Ace Bailey and you're able to slide right in, score some points. You don't have to worry so much about carrying the load defensively or doing other stuff. Whereas the 4th pick, Charlotte, or if you go down further in that draft, there's going to be teams who can need you to come in and be a superstar or carry a bigger load. I wonder if Philly's like a better fit for him, or if they're if they're win now, like maybe they want to trade down or try to find someone.
These are all of the conversations that are happening right now. Okay, if we're taking best prospect available, highest upside, and Flagg and Harper off the board at 3, perhaps the best thing we could do is take Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
But we are trying to win now.
Yeah.
And is an 18-year-old who couldn't help Rutgers win. Couldn't help Rutgers win in the Big Ten. He going to help us win in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah.
All right. So
better supporting cast, though.
Yes, but but could he be a role player that we just bring off the bench early in his career and let him just go get buckets? And you look up and it's the Eastern Conference Finals, and Joel Embiid's the star, and Tyrese Maxey's balling out, but just like Terrence Shannon comes off the bench and gets you 10, maybe Ace Bailey comes out. Because I do think this matters, and I'm not certain it matters. I'm not certain which is best, but I do think it matters. Do you start your career as a role player beside a former MVP, or in Charlotte with LaMelo Ball?
Yeah.
I think these things matter.
That matters a lot.
There's a big difference in what you're going to be doing and what you'll be asked to do, just given where you land. And we get so caught up talking about prospects annually. Mm-hmm. Will this guy be great? Will that guy be great? Will this guy be good? Will this guy be a bust? And we talk about them as if it's just completely up to them.
Yeah.
Often it's not just up to them. Who picked you? Who coached you? Mm-hmm. Who developed you? Who were your teammates? I remember a few years ago, I'd go on wherever you go on and talk about the same stuff we're talking about. And I want to say the argument was about Jalen Suggs and Scotty Barnes. Mm-hmm. I could be mixing up some stuff, but I believe it was a Jalen Suggs, Scotty Barnes conversation. And it was like, maybe the Raptors were in a position to pick one of them. And it was like, and if it's between Barnes and Jalen Suggs, which one which one of those do you think will be the better pro? I said, whichever one Toronto picks will be the better pro, because the other one will maybe go to, I think it was pretty clear, a not great franchise at that time.
Yeah.
And I'll just trust the development of Toronto, the stuff that's been in place there, the stuff I've seen. So I think who will be better between Jalen Suggs and Scotty Barnes? Tell me which one Toronto picks and which one they pass on, and I'll go with that one. And sometimes that really is what it comes down to. And for Ace Bailey, he could start his career as a buried on the bench role player for a contender with an MVP as the centerpiece, or for a bad franchise that's going to lose 50 games next year.
Yeah.
And we won't know till draft night. But that is an interesting place to find yourself, because in a traditional draft where all the bad teams pick up front, then you're going to a bad team and you're going to get a lot of shots and stuff. But he might be selected by a team like that could end up in the NBA Finals next season. That's like not the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah. You mentioned the Rashard Lewis comparison for Ace Bailey. We have a clip of Dylan Harper talking about his comparison, and he was asked to choose his own NBA comparison.
If you were giving your scouting report, what's your top 2 strengths, and what would be one weakness that you would write down on your own scouting report of yourself?
I ain't got no weaknesses. I got more than 2 strengths, big dog.
I know you do. I'm asking you to be limited. We're on TV.
That was Ace Bailey talking about his own strengths and weaknesses. He doesn't have any weaknesses.
I appreciate the confidence.
I like the candor there.
I can appreciate the confidence. That's an interesting mindset. Yeah. It's obviously untrue. He obviously has. Let me be clear. every one-and-done basketball player in the history of the world has some weaknesses.
Yeah.
All right? Even the Anthony Davises and the Kevin Durant's and they've never been a perfect basketball player coming out of college after 1 year. So it's just silly out of hand to suggest I'm a player with no weaknesses. And he was laughing through it. So I'm not trying to be like, I'm not offended by what he said. He was laughing through it. I'm going to laugh with him.
Yeah.
But he quite clearly has weaknesses, and they were pretty defined at Rutgers.
Let's talk about Dylan Harper, who compared himself to Cade Cunningham.
Yes. I've heard that as well, and I understand it. I don't know that it works perfectly.
Yeah.
Big
guard, though.
But in the sense, if you just want to make it as basic as you can make it, big guard with size, who isn't like a top-tier athlete, but understands how to change speeds and get to spots and just knows how to play. That was the thing about Cade Cunningham. Like, he's not going to put his chin on the rim necessarily. He's not going to blow by you the way a Ja Morant might blow by you.
Yeah.
But he just knows how to play, knows how to get where he wants to go, knows how to change speeds, and now he's one of the young stars in the NBA. Yes, there's some thought that Dylan Harper can different player in a variety of ways, but that stuff is similar. Lead guard, immensely talented, really knows how to play, and somehow is awesome despite not having what we traditionally label as NBA level athleticism.
Yeah.
That stuff's all very similar.
Yeah. All right. We've been talking about these guys now for 20 minutes, so we're gonna take a ticket on this and come back next week, and we're gonna go into a couple other guys who are still on the board. You're watching Grind City Media's Draft Board Breakdown, presented by Southland Casino.